Hello again all. This time in this video we're going to cover a more detailed walk around of the V4 SL versus the 1299 SL. Just to see what I'm trying to solve here or get some insight on is really why the V4 costs 20 grand more than the 1299 did. The 1299 is only 3-year models older, so it's a really big jump from $80,000 retail to $100,000 retail. So I'm going to do a walk around, do some comparisons, see what kind of differences we can see, and let you guys decide if you think it's worth it. But yeah, I'll show you some things that I noticed right away. I'm sure there's others, but I'm pretty detail oriented, so I think we'll see. I think I'm going to cover a lot of it. Okay, we're going to start with the fact that this was the first SL or any special edition Ducati that I know of that is you're able to request a number. So because I already had number 75 or have number 75 of the 1299, I requested number 75 of the V4, and they did deliver that. So that's a first. So yeah, I requested number 75, and the V4, the VIN actually reflects the unit number now, the edition number, I guess. The VIN reflects number 75, where the 1299 does not. The VIN does not align with the plaque number. Although I do know that if you're famous or Lewis Hamilton or somebody like that, you get whichever one you want. I am not that. So moving further on, one of the very first things I noticed with the V4 is that they pretty much eliminated any plastic. When I got the 1299, this inner fairing piece right here between the tank and the fairing, that was plastic. You can see the cover for the access to the tail and DDA and whatnot. That's plastic. There's some plastic in the headlight area. There's plastic on the radiator surround. There's plastic. There's plastic on this bike. I did change some of it because I didn't want it. When I come to the V4, you're really hard pressed to find any plastic. Here and there for connectors or this type of thing, but tailpiece is carbon. All the pieces up in the fairing there, all carbon. Radiator surround, carbon. The sprocket cover on the 1299 was not carbon. This one is carbon. So there's a lot more detail carbon on the V4 than on the 1299. Moving on to, I already showed it, but if you look at the triple clamps, it's pretty intricate on the V4, machined. They both have the numbers on them, but the V4 machining is completely different. The finish is a much higher gloss finish. The 1299 is no slouch by any means, but it's a completely different type of finish. And it's not as intricate looking, although still very much so. In the same token, if you look at the fork lowers of the 1299, I don't know if I'm getting that well. A little bit hard to tell what I'm talking about here, but take a look at the brakes at the same time. The brakes are, they're just normal brakes, that Brembos that came off of 1299. So take a look at the fork lowers and the brakes. Moving over to the V4. Again, a little bit like the triple clamp, it's more intricate. The finish is different. It looks, I guess, a little glossier. Now, I don't think the video is picking it up, but it is the fact that they are, in person, if you can see them, they are more intricate, more detailed, just look fancier, I suppose. And also too, this bike, although it looks like the normal Stalma Brembos, it's called an R model, and you'll notice the two little red stripes under the word Brembo. That's not on other V4s. So the caliper is unique to the SL, although I think you can buy that component. Whereas the caliper on the 1299 is not unique. Some other interesting details. I don't know if you can pick it up in the video, but the structural, well, swing arm is obviously structural. That carbon has a yellowish hue to it compared to any other carbon on either one of these bikes, including the frames. And the 1299 has that same type of yellowish hue. You never really notice it, like, unless you're really looking for it, but it's there. I don't know why. I'm not a carbon expert, but it's got to be a reason. So both of these bikes have full titanium hardware, mostly all carbon. There's a lot of similarities as far as that goes. One thing that's very interesting is that the 1299, when it came out, it has a sandcast engine cases, and that was unique. And Ducati, I recall mentioning that in the literature for this was that it was a few pounds lighter than a normal 1299 engine case. The V4, there's no mention of this anywhere. I think the cases are sandcast, but maybe all the V4s are. I'm not really sure. I did compare this one to other V4s on the showroom floor when I picked it up, and the cases look the same. So I don't know. It's really hard to tell. By the same token, the 1299 is it's got R internals with the higher displacement, whereas the V4 is 1,000 cc's, so it does not have the 1100 motor with R internals. It is strictly R internals, and I did take the time to look up a lot of the engine components of the V4 versus a V4R, and there's a lot of part number changes. So I think that there are differences. However, it's not. We saw the dyno results. They make the same power. The V4 comes with the Akrapovic exhaust that looks very similar to the exhaust that you buy from the accessory catalog for any V4. It is slightly different because the swing arm is different, and so it looks like they had to make some adjustments. It has a unique part number. The stock exhaust on the V4 was a lot different. I put the silencer on the Street Fighter, but the downpipes and whatnot are full titanium, and they're unique. They made a stock exhaust unique to the V4 SL. Moving over to the 1299, this exhaust was way more special at the time, in my opinion. It was the first time we saw these dual cans coming out the back like this. Of course, full tie. You know, all those boxes are checked. The FE ended up having a homologated version of this, and then you could also buy this as an accessory, but this was the first time we saw this exhaust, whereas the V4, the exhaust does not look unique, even though components of it at least are unique. Back over to the V4, it does come with a bunch of Ducati accessories, for you guys that want me to pronounce this more properly. DP accessories, so clutch cover, bar ends, brake lever, front brake guard, swing arm cover. I feel like something else too. I can't remember exactly, but you see the clutch cover here. Okay, moving along here. We talked about all the DP accessories that come with the bike. Yeah, the 1299 didn't come with all those parts. They both come with a very similar box of goodies, where like battery charger, covers, stands. They both come in with that, so it's the same there. The V4 came with this little model that I took a picture of. I'll include it in the video. It's really intricate. It's kind of ugly, but whatever. It's nice, I suppose. The V4, one interesting thing, the V4, all the exhaust components, the belly pan, all of those items were able to bolt on, and you ride the motorcycle, you use the motorcycle, where the 1299, I had to get a different belly pan, and we had to do some things to make it so that when the exhaust was on, I could use the kickstand. If you just have all the Ducati parts and those bolted up, the kickstand will not work with the exhaust and the body work that they give you with that. So that's definitely a huge improvement. Taking a step back here, the V4 definitely has more detail. If you look at the paint job, it's a more intricate paint job, whether you like the actual paint job more or not. That's purely subjective, but it's a combination of gloss and carbon. So there's a lot of matte exposed carbon. If you look on the side here, really hard to tell in pictures, but there's an additional couple stripes going down the side that really, it adds really nice detail. This bike looks much better in person than it does in pictures, in my opinion. Whereas the 1299, also beautiful. I love this paint scheme as well. Completely matte, exposed carbon. They did some nice things there as well. But it's just, it doesn't have the complexity of the paint scheme as the V4. So I don't know that that's worth 20 grand, but it is there. So that's it for the walk around. If you have questions, put it in the comments. Subscribe. I always forget to mention all that. I'm new at all of this, but subscribe. Send me comments, questions. I'll happily look at anything if you have something specific and report back. This is just a sort of a high level, but still some pretty significant details. You know, is it worth 20 grand more? I bought them both, so I guess it must be. But I think this bike, it's in the details. And the aero, I suppose, additional carbon, all these types of things. But the other 20 grand lies in the details. There's also one other thing I forgot to mention, is that the crate that the V4 comes in is pretty special. It's got, I'll include a picture of that. It's got an outline of the V4. So they really, really raised the detail level with this bike. And I think that's where the other 20 grand lies, along with an extra nice chunk of profit for Duck. So again, comments, questions, I'd love it if you subscribed. I'm going to try to keep putting out some useful videos, a little less glamour than some, and just try to keep to the facts. So, yep, thank you.